Why sharks are misunderstood. Sharks. For many new divers and non-divers, the word alone triggers a little tension and doubt. Sam was one of those divers. He carried vivid images from movies, headlines, and secondhand stories that turned the ocean into a place to fear rather than explore. Then Sam met Bob, a marine biologist and experienced diver who had spent years observing sharks up close. Bob believed that understanding replaces fear, and he set out to help Sam see sharks as they truly are. This story follows Sam's journey as Bob explains what sharks do, why they are misunderstood, and how divers can share the water with them safely. Sam's fear started the way most fears do. He had never dived with sharks, but he had decades of impressions piled up in his head. He had watched Jaws and every knockoff that painted sharks as man-hunters to which there is no escape. He had read headlines that turned rare incidents into rolling drama. He had heard stories from people who had never actually seen a shark in the water that painted them as killing machines to be feared. Bob asked him where the fear really came from, and Sam listed out each of these sources. Bob acknowledged the list and then helped to separate myth from reality. Sharks are top predators, but that does not make them mindless hunters of humans. They evolved long before humans existed, and humans are not part of their natural diet. Most sharks want nothing to do with people and tend to show natural curiosity. Out of hundreds of species, only a handful have been involved in a serious incident with humans, and even those incidents are rare. The odds of a shark attack are less than 1 in several million, far lower than everyday risks like driving to the beach. The reason fear sticks is that it is repeated more often than facts. And naturally, when there is a shark attack, it's a bigger deal in the media than a car accident on the way to a beach. Most non-divers never see sharks behaving naturally, so fear thrives where information is missing. Bob then shifted to what headlines leave out. Sharks stabilize marine ecosystems by culling weak and sick prey and keeping populations in check. They prefer to be lazy and cull the weaker animals as they don't strive to challenge anything that is generally not easy prey. They protect coral reefs and seagrass beds from tipping into imbalance. When sharks decline, herbivores can explode in number and overgraze. Algae can smother corals, and entire food webs lose resilience. Those habitats also store carbon and shelter juvenile fish, so when they degrade, the ocean loses strength and stability. Sam started to realize that sharks are not the villains in the ocean as once portrayed. They are part of the life support system that keeps the places he wants to dive healthy. Seeing sharks as guardians rather than monsters was the first shift. The real reasons behind shark attacks. Sam's next question was the one that every new diver asks. If sharks are not hunting humans, why do bites happen? Bob answered by separating non-scuba diver risk from scuba diver risk. Most bites on non-scuba divers happen at the surface and involve mistaken identity. From below, a surfer paddling aboard or a snorkeler bobbing at the surface can look like a seal or a turtle. A swimmer in a dark wetsuit, which oddly enough is the most common type splashing in low light, can silhouette like prey. In murky water, a shark makes a quick decision, tests with an exploratory bite, and often lets go when it realizes the mistake. This is most often the case with many great white shark attacks. That is not the same as deliberate predation. Context stacks risks as much as the species. If you're on the surface of water near sea lion colonies, you are in an area with concentrated prey. where the sharks come to prey on those animals, and they are simply mistaking your identity for the seals. Fishing boats, chum lines, and bait balls create feeding zones where intention is focused on food. River mouths after rain reduce visibility and bring scent and debris into the surf. Spearfishing adds blood and struggling fish, which can draw sharks in fast and redirect their interest to the catch. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time is often the main factor behind human bites. But a bite underwater, where the wound cannot seal on its own, can be fatal. Not to mention the bite force of some sharks, such as the great white, making a test bite is enough to take an arm off. Scuba divers, however, encounter sharks differently. Divers are in the water column rather than silhouetted on the surface, with often open circuit bubbles being emitted above them. It looks quite alien to sharks. A calm diver mid-water does not look like prey, but perhaps something to be inspected, to be curious about. Because divers are up close and can see the whole shark, they also have an advantage of reading and responding to the body language before tension escalates. Bob then taught Sam some of these signals. Smooth, steady motion with level pectoral fins indicates a relaxed state. Quick bursts of speed in a zigzag motion, exaggerated tail beats, lowered pectoral fins, straight down or side to side head swings indicate agitation. Of course, different species of shark also exhibit different and unique behaviors on their own, but this would be a general guideline for Sam. A stiff body with pectoral fins angled downward, coupled with tighter circles, is a classic threat display. That is the moment to increase distance without turning your back. Keep fins and hands close, and avoid sudden kicks that look like a fleeing fish. The important thing is, sharks are not used to human divers and won't see you as prey unless you start to behave more like prey, and only then they might become opportunistic. To make decisions under stress, Bob gave Sam a simple traffic light system. Green means the shark is calm and relaxed, so observe and stay aware. Yellow means the shark is agitated, so add a lot of space with slow and deliberate movement. Red means a threat display, so retreat with control while keeping the shark in sight and in interaction on your terms. Bob gave a story about another diver that uses this exact approach. A shark narrowed its circle around a spectating diver, dropped its fins, and stiffened as it passed. The diver stayed horizontal, held eye contact, slid sideways to an open lane, and finned back slowly to create space. The shark lost interest and eventually swam away, and the dive continued without incident. While that interaction turned into a yellow encounter, there was no panic, and there was no chase. It was clear communication, read and respected on both sides. Sam added practical habits to stack the odds. Avoid splashing or fast arm movements. Flailing limbs might seem like a tasty opportunity. Remember, sharks are predators, and they may be hungry. You don't want to be presenting yourself like a tasty snack to the shark. Maintain strong and sturdy movements, positioning yourself vertically to also show a bit of an intimidating display. Being near other divers shows a pack of humans, which certainly will show less opportunity to the shark. Never reach toward the shark or try to touch a shark. It's a good way to lose a hand. Keep your distance and respect them passing by. It's important to note that sharks have a sixth sense that we do not. Their eyesight is subpar and their sense of smell is acute, but they can also sense your electrical field, such as your heart beating, through little ampules in their nose. However, it needs to get close to feel you, and sometimes uncomfortably close. Don't confuse this with an attack and try to reach out to the shark to hit it or pet it. It's only curious and wants to be intimate with your electrical field, and so it's gonna feel you all over without you realizing it, but it needs to be close to do that. It wants to see your electric personality. Which, by the way, if you are secretly panicking, it'll sense that. It can sense your fear. A fast heartbeat might excite the shark, so remember, stay calm and in control. Breathe in and out, and present yourself like something to be respected, not prey. It's also a good idea to leave shiny jewelry on the boat because flashes might look like bait fish. Maintain good buoyancy and be compact so nothing dangles like an easy target. Don't allow yourself to separate from the group. Ideally, stay close to others and keep a buddy in sight to present yourself as aware and organized. Don't move into bait balls or low visibility areas where sharks are, because they may no longer be able to tell you're a diver and might just start biting first and asking questions later. Make sure you listen to the local dive briefings about dawn and dusk feeding windows, visibility, and recent activity. With those basics in mind, incidents involving divers remain quite rare. Swimming and surfing at the surface are statistically far riskier than a calm dive in clear water. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, now's a great time to like and subscribe. It'll help this video be seen by other divers, and I truly appreciate it. I post weekly content to help divers grow their skills, build confidence, and explore the ocean with curiosity and care. And by the way, I have a free monthly newsletter. If you're interested at all, I have a link in the description below, and you'll be able to keep up with the latest and greatest of the scuba industry. The sharks divers should watch out for. As mentioned, not all sharks behave the same way, and while most species are harmless to divers, a few deserve a little extra caution and respect. Sam learned to focus on 3 species that account for the most serious incidents for scuba divers because of their size, habitats, and feeding strategies. Those are tiger sharks, bull sharks, and oceanic whitetips. Great whites are the most famous scary shark, but recreational divers encounter them the least, and generally great whites have zero interest in divers. They commonly fly by, and once they see you're a diver, they swim away to go hunt something else, like a snorkeler. Just kidding. Great whites grow massive, frequent cool coasts with seal colonies, and many bites on surfers and swimmers are exploratory mistakes driven by silhouettes at the surface. Tiger sharks, unlike great whites, often hunt in shallow and warmer waters. They are highly opportunistic and curious sharks. Bold and curious, common in tropical and subtropical regions like the Bahamas and Hawaii, where divers specifically visit to see them. They investigate cameras, fins, and inedible objects, which brings them close without hostility. They have been known to eat a wide variety of things, and that's why they're incredibly opportunistic. What's neat about tiger sharks is they can actually eject their stomach and empty it out in case they eat something incredibly inedible, and they can regurgitate their stomach and put it back into place. That's cool. But again, tiger sharks are not killing machines. They're just opportunistic, and they're big sharks. So Bob set a simple rule for tigers. When you know a tiger shark is near, turn to face the shark. Present as aware, and keep fins and hands tucked so nothing dangles like a target. Keep your eyes on the shark. Do not turn away. Slide sideways to give a clear passing lane rather than blocking the path in front of them. Then reset position with calm and controlled movement. If the tiger shark is circling you, make sure to gather with more divers and show an intimidating display as you pass from green to yellow. If you're feeling like you're hitting red territory, then here is the next measure to take. The unique part of a tiger shark is that they do not have strong bites like other sharks. Instead, their jaws are lined with many teeth like a saw, and they will bite and tear into the flesh like a saw-like pattern and thrashing their prey around. So instead of a single test bite where they have strength to just lop off an arm, they will bite and saw. To counter this, you can present a long stick, or rather a cylinder, that elongates in the same direction as their mouth. If it's longer than their mouth, it will generally indicate to the shark it cannot bite around the thing, effectively presenting a shield. Keep eyes on it until it leaves and then abort the dive. While I never hope to have to try this maneuver, I have heard that you can also bop it right underneath the nose where all the ampules are, as this is a very sensitive area, and you can control its movement and direction by redirecting its nose. Now, I've never had to use this, and it's important to know when a shark is approaching you for a bite, it's going to close its eyes. So I used to hear that you should always go for the eyes and try and poke them in the eyes, but they will have a shunt over their eyes and it's fairly well protected. So go for the nose and try to redirect. Again, I haven't had to use this. It's just something I've heard, and it might be a good last resort. I've never had to use this. I've dove around a lot of sharks. They never get this close. But I am aware of some incidents that have happened, and so maybe this is a last resort. Again, keep eyes on it until it leaves, and then abort the dive. Next, we have bull sharks that are adaptable, territorial, and thrive in murky and sometimes brackish water where visibility is low, and prey funnels through channels and river mouths. Which is why prevention begins before the dive or before you start looking like prey. Bob recommends avoiding river mouths after storms, skip chummed water, and never tow speared fish on a belt in bull shark areas. If a bull keeps closing to yellow or even red, Bob will use some structure like a rock or something that is angled behind him so the shark can't easily get behind. Stay level, open distance without sprinting upward like a panic prey. Generally, backing off and keeping calm and composure, the bull shark will lose interest and be on their way, especially if you're in a group of divers. Oceanic whitetips live in open blue and approach confidently, especially around floating objects like boats and people at the surface far from land. Their long rounded fins and unhurried glide can feel bold in a way that reads pushy. They're fantastic to see and often curious. Keep them in front of you and let them know you're in control. You're no pushover and you will respect them, so they should respect you. And of course, this applies to all sharks in general. You don't want to be on the surface when these sharks are near, so scrambling to the boat is not always a good idea. If the shark is circling, it might be better to stay underwater until it leaves. Hold your ground, gather, keep eyes on the shark, and show some strength and cool composure. Back away from the shark's territory until it loses interest. Then you can start to abort the dive, keeping an eye out for the shark. All of these sharks encounter divers regularly, and still attacks are infrequent and far between. They are still generally safe, but demand respect. Bob and Sam have had many safe dives with these sharks, so we don't want to say that they're dangerous, but they demand respect and take them seriously, and you'll have unforgettable memories with those sharks. Sam locked us in with a short checklist in his dive log that he ran over every dive briefing that sharks could be encountered. Control trim and buoyancy. Keep nothing from dangling, including your limbs. Face the shark and let it see you looking at it, and stare it straight in its eyes. Move slowly, give lanes, avoid chasing or cornering. Position yourself with your dive group, as numbers are safety. If behavior goes from green to yellow, add space and reduce profile. If it goes red, retreat with control while keeping the shark in sight and end the dive calmly once the shark is out of sight. Sharks are more threatened than threatening. The biggest shift for Sam came when he understood the scale of human impact on sharks. While people fear sharks, sharks have far more reason to fear us. Every year, tens of millions of sharks are killed by humans, and some estimates approach 100 million when finning and bycatch are included. If this was happening to humans, we'd declare war on whatever is happening to us and battle it triumphantly. But truly, we are the apex predator, and sharks are completely spared at our mercy. Since 1970, global shark and ray abundance has fallen by more than 70% in many regions, and almost a third of species are now threatened with extinction. Overfishing and bycatch drive most losses, and slow reproduction makes recovery difficult even when pressure eases. When sharks disappear, damage ripples through the food web. Without predation pressure, herbivorous fish can explode in number, and overgrazed seagrass meadows that serve as nurseries and natural carbon sinks. Unchecked algae can smother coral reefs. Biodiversity falls, and storms and heat waves hit harder when the reef foundations weaken. Sharks also move nutrients as they migrate, shuttling energy from deep water to shallows and fertilizing food webs along the way. Their presence indirectly supports carbon storage by keeping reefs and seagrass healthy and functional. I've heard from a shark biologist that lack of sharks in an area is a leading cause of coral decay. Climate stress adds new pressure points that matter for divers and for sharks. Warming seas and expanding low oxygen zones push prey and predators into new depth bands and routes, increasing overlap with longlines and gill nets. Pelagic sharks that linger near the surface for oxygen or cooler layers become more vulnerable to capture, and shifting ranges bring them into heavily fished corridors. Sam needed a concrete example to help anchor the stakes. In South Africa's False Bay, the great whites dwindled, Cape fur seals surged, smaller fish declined, and tourism suffered as iconic sightings had vanished. Operators felt the economic shock, and pressure shifted into other species as the system strained. By contrast, Palau established a nationwide shark sanctuary, protecting sharks across its waters and building a stable economy around live sharks and healthy reefs. Divers travel from around the world for reliable, ethical encounters which sustain local jobs, incentivizes long-term protection better than short-term overfishing that commercial fishing was causing. The Mediterranean shows a different lesson, where decades of intense fishing left many shark populations severely depleted and slow to recover. For Sam, the takeaway was practical rather than abstract. Protecting sharks means better reefs, steadier fish populations, resilient coastlines, and livelihoods that depend on healthy oceans. Every safe encounter and every accurate story helps shift sharks from fear to value, and that value is what keeps them alive. And we, as divers, can enjoy seeing sharks as well as healthy ecosystems for years to come. And I really like seeing stuff, especially sharks. Sam began this journey, afraid of a shadow he had never seen clearly. He finished it with a steady plan, a practiced eye for shark body language, and a respect for the animals that keep reefs in balance. Sharks are not villains waiting in the blue. They are vital to ocean health, and with awareness and composure, sharing the water with them becomes a privilege rather than a risk. What's your experience with sharks? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video and are excited to see sharks in the future, you'll want to make sure you have your buoyancy locked in, and I have a perfect video for you to watch here. The more you know, the more you'll love and protect the ocean. Until next time.